Okay. So that was a meditation on Chinese medicine meditation, focusing on the yin-qi cycle. I do want to shift gears for a moment and do a second practice today. This practice, the intention is to expose you to different styles of meditation practice so that in essence you can become a connoisseur and more knowledgeable about various forms of meditation practice. So I'll call this one studying meditation. There's said perhaps 4 different types of practices that are commonly referred to as meditation practices. One is what they call it Raja. So a Raja practice is one where there's movement. You're moving the body, and because of the movement of the body, you're having a meditation experience. Maybe doing a yoga practice. You're going from one vinyasa to the next, one posture to the next, and moving the body. And the idea is you breathe. You breathe through the movement. You breathe when you're in the posture. The postures are not always the most comfortable, but it's your experience to it, which is the practice. Do you tense up and grit your teeth and just go on to the next posture in just a moment? Or do you try to breathe? Breathe through it and soften and listen to what your body's saying. That's a movement type. Or again, some people have commented like the runners, and they get a runner's high, or they get very still in their mind when they do physical running. My mother loves to garden, and I know when she gets in the garden, puts her hands in the earth and gets things going there, and then weeding this and repotting that and pruning this and watering this. That's like a meditation practice, and it's all just, your mind is very still, you're not worried about all kinds of stuff because you're just engaged in some activity, or like if you're doing art, like watercolors, you're just very still mind, you're just looking at something, you're just painting it. It's a movement practice. A piano, so it says, when I play piano, my mind is so still, I'm in this quiet space. Is that a meditation practice? Yes. You're moving your fingers, and you're very anchored in the present moment. Another type of practice is called bhakti. Bhakti yoga or Raja yoga. Yoga meaning yoking between you and the divine, having a moment of like stillness between the mind. This is a devotional style. Oftentimes chanting. You go to a synagogue, you go to a mosque, you go to a temple, you go to a church. It's very common in spiritual traditions. You call out, you say Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. You just praise the divine, and you're just devotional practice. You're this idea of if I just keep saying these things, or I keep bringing this into my heart, my mind will still, and I will see these the divine in every moment. That's a practice. You can go to places like in India, for example, where they've been chanting that mantra to Lord Krishna, nonstop for like thousands of years. It's going through the night every day. There's always people there keeping the chant going. It doesn't stop. Karma yoga. Basically doing selfless service. We talked about this earlier in today's class. A great way to stop the mind and stop worrying about the self is to not worry about the self and to do many actions to help other people. It reminds me of a quick story when I remember traveling in India with Amachi, who's one of my main teachers. and we were going from one town in Kerala, which is a state in southern India, and we were going from one town to another town, and she said, let's go swimming. So everyone's going to go swimming with Amma, this great teacher, and us, 300-400 people, and we all go swimming, and we all have a mystical experience just being with this great teacher, and then it says, let's eat food. And so now we have to feed 300-400 people on the side of the road, that's just in our little entourage going to some town. And I remember after eating, I had my own experience of like a meditation experience of selfless service. I became this human dishwasher. I just was the guy where 300, 400 plates came to, and I was just like, shoo, 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 shoo. Just washing dishes for a while. And I remember she even brought it to her lecture. And she made comment to the value of selfless service, of just, you have your own meditation experience, your own stillness of the mind by helping others. I don't know what came over and why I don't do that often, but I really got into it. And it was one of the most memorable experiences of this entire 6-month trip I did.
Yana.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Nice. Ooh, we've got a yogi in the room. Wow, how did you know that?
It says in the Bhagavad Gita.
Oh. 12 years I've been teaching this, nobody's come up with just grab one out of the air. Yes. Thank you. This is one concept is this word studying. One way to undo the mind. You use the mind to undo the mind. You study the Diamond Sutras. You're studying, you're reading about what does this mean? I'm going to have a debate with somebody. Oh, what does this mean? No, that's not what it means. It means this. Oh, that's an interesting thought. No, it doesn't mean that. It means this. You see it a lot in Tibetan Buddhist culture. They'll have and during the Buddhist training, they'll have these debates. Well, they'll have principles that are debated. And the idea is to use your mind to understand these concepts more deeply. And then there's people who say, no, you missed this one. That's the ego speaking, or something like this. And they help you to quiet your mind through this rigorous academic activity. I mean, even, it's like Diamond Sutra, Heart Sutra, all the different phases of death and dying, all the different stages of meditation practice, getting to liberation. There's volumes of written material that's 22 years with that guy, Yeshe, 22 years for a master's, not even doctorate. So you use the mind to undo the mind. Did I do okay on that? How would you? No, you tell me. You must know better because she knows.
No.
Something like this.
Yeah.
This is a jnana meditation practice. You still the mind through studying. Sometimes even in class here, you're studying these materials with these teachers for hours. Or even have it after a test. You ever have after a test, you're really mental, you're just quiet in the mind. You've been doing so much mental work, the mind goes quiet. Anyways, I'm going to take us on a meditation journey type practice now. So what it is, and this it's taught to me, it's more of a Native American approach or concept. Robert Newman, when I was a student here, used to teach from time to time. He would take us out to somewhere, Topanga, and he'd bring a Indian drum, and he'd bring some organic tobacco, and we'd journey, meaning you would sit down, maybe it's at a tree or a plant, and you would make the intention, can I learn from your wisdom, like a plant animal, like a plant spirit, or maybe even like a spirit animal, and you might even make an offering of tobacco, to show reverence or respect. And then you would play the drum and we would do a meditation journey. So we're going to do something like that We're not going out to Topanga today. So we're going to visualize ourselves walking on a path, and you come to a tree or a bush or a plant or something that speaks to you, in the meditation practice. Here's your walking to it, and then you sit at its base after receiving permission. And I'm going to mention all 4 of these, which is like 4 directions. I still can't believe you remembered Jnana. Unbelievable. I'll mention each one of these 4. And if one of the 4 seems to be like in the direction where light is coming to you, because if you're sitting here, there's light facing on you from one direction, typically, right? Face in the direction of the light. Let the sunlight come to you in the visualization. And let that, one of these 4, be your meditation practice to focus on what that means to you. So again, maybe you're facing this direction, and this is for one of these things. And you'll focus on that. And then afterwards, we'll give gratitude to the plant or tree, and then we'll stand up and we'll walk back out of our practice, and that'll be the practice. Again, this is more of a journeying visualization exercise in the mind. We're not going to physically be moving anywhere. Any questions about that before we start? Okay. So bring your attention to your breath. Find a comfortable seated posture. And visualize yourself walking through nature. Visualize yourself in a place of nature that you feel welcome and comforted by. Slowly walk through the path. And fill in the picture as best you can with the leaves on your feet, the sunlight on your back, face, the wind or breeze, the sounds of nature around you. Relax your body. And if you find a plant, a bush, or a tree that seems to call to you, move in its direction, sit at its base, first asking permission if you might be able to learn from its wisdom, making a prayer of gratitude and respect. When you receive permission, sit at its base and direct your body facing towards the sun. And I'll read through the 4 different types of meditation practice. And if one seems to illuminate your spirit, then spend some time just breathing and focusing on the vibration of it. So jnana, yoga, jnana, meditation, where you focus on stilling the mind, using the mind to undo the mind, learning, studying, about the mind and meditation and healing, wellness. Or Raja Yoga, movement-based practice, using the body, movement, opening the channels, feeling the energy, the chi circulating through the body, removing obstructions, so that the mind is peaceful and the heart is open. Or Bhakti Yoga practice of devotion, prayer, calling out to the divine, chanting the divine's name, in the spirit of understanding how we interconnect, interrelate with each other. Karma Yoga, helping others, acts of selfless service. Being of service to your patients, being of service to your community. Allowing this activity to help still the mind and open the heart. Let go of the thoughts. Come back to the breath. Come back to the breath. Slowly inhale, slowly exhale. Just a couple more breaths. Back to the heart, feeling the sun on the body. Smile on the face. And in your practice, you can visualize yourself bringing your hands to your heart, offering prayers and thanks to the tree or the plant or the bush, offering all the good merits to all beings from suffering. And when you're ready, and in your mind, you can visualize yourself finishing your practice, moving from the tree and walking back in the direction in which you came. If you like, when you're ready to end your practice, you're sitting here, and you can bring your hands to your heart if you like. May all the good merits of this practice be offered to the liberation of all beings from suffering. May all beings be happy and free. And when you're ready, you can slowly allow yourself to come out of your practice and allow your eyes to open. The concept behind this one is seeking a variety of spiritual experiences and choosing a type perhaps that works for you, and that may change from time to time, which one works for you. Anybody want to share anything about their practice, this practice today? What they felt or experienced? We're all very still. How about their experience, what you've noticed between your practice here in classroom with a group versus your experience at home alone? I might find that the practice is different. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
I tune out, I think, a bit more at home.
At home. Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize I find myself engaged in meditation a lot more than what I thought.
There you have it. Thanks for sharing.
During quiet time, I'm actually practicing it. I'm like, oh, I had no idea. But now I'm actually putting more
You're aware.
thought into it.
Yeah, that you're actually having that experience. A lot of times that's about you've deepened your relationship with meditation. You become more aware of what meditation feels like for you, and you realize perhaps you were doing it more during the day than perhaps you thought. Any other comments for you?
I feel like it's easier when it's guided by somebody else versus self-guided at home.
Yeah.
Because that takes a little bit more focus.
Yeah.
And when I wake up first thing in the morning, I'm all tired.
Yeah.
Or groggy or whatever. So,
I'd say stick with it the first thing in the morning. It'll become a good pattern. And that's not uncommon. People will say when they practice at home it's a little tricky. Sometimes you can listen to things. Like you could listen to this again, or you could just play something very simple, like a Tibetan singing bowls. You can listen to a recording about that. Karma Moffat offers, there's like a CD he has called like Golden Bowls, and it's just like 45 minutes or 55 minutes of just this artist playing Tibetan singing bowls, and it's just really helpful. Or there's Headspace, which is an app, which is quite good, which is like a guided practice. Or there's many guided practices now available online that you could download and listen to. But I wouldn't overly complicate it. I think just even sometimes just practicing to sound of ocean waves or the sound of raining, or guided practice. Pema Chodron does some really good ones. Thich Nhat Hanh does some really good ones. Dalai Lama does, of course, some really wonderful ones. All these, there's many, meditation teachers, that you can download and you can listen to. But I think there's some value just to yourself practicing, and that experience is different. But I say if it's a little easier to practice with some type of guiding, then when you're home, you could try to listen to something. Or if it's not someone speaking, then maybe just some pleasing sound, like nature sounds. But I'm not a big fan of like mashing a few together. Like I've heard ones that are like Tibetan singing bowls plus birds plus some violins, and you're like, wait, each one could be great, but together it's just too much. So I like simple, personally. Any other thoughts or comments? I don't mean to necessarily go around the horn, but if anyone else wants to share their experience, welcome to it. Journaling going okay? Getting a chance to do some journaling? Recording down some thoughts of just, really not thoughts, just observations. I like that term, sort of without judgment, just some observations of, man, I was so anxious today, or oh gosh, I was actually really sleepy today, or oh boy, I was just very still, and I just almost felt like I wasn't even breathing from time to time. Just some or I felt a lot of heat in my throat, whatever it may be. It's cultivating this relationship with you being the witness, the observer, without any opinion, any judgment, just training yourself to witness what's going on, so that when you are practicing and you notice, oh my, I'm off on this thought about something. Okay. I'm let go and come back to the breath. That's what we're training ourselves to do in some sense of the word. Or helping us let go. So anyways, homework, unless there's any other comments, is very similar to last week. Keep reading Pieces Every Step, the book. Keep practicing 15 minutes every day, each morning, I'd recommend. Journal a little bit. And if you like taking a half day in silence, which I think is good opportunity, especially as you're a student here, you can really cultivate your practice, and you almost will learn better the materials here if you're in a peaceful space. If you're stressed out, you just don't retain the information as well. Then I would take a half day in silence or something, or some other activity of energy cultivating. And with that in mind, speaking of trying to learn the materials better here, I would comment, when you're learning the herbs in herbal medicine, really recommend take those herbs or those flashcards out to nature and look at them there. Something about the vibration of learning herbs in nature. It just goes a little deeper to the core of us. So that's just an idea. I remember doing that when I was studying for the boards. I just went out there and I'm just no phone, turn off the phone, and just look at the herbs a little bit, or read the herbs, or think about what spicy flavor, and then kind of look around in nature. Oh, look at that bird, it's kind of flying. Wow, it's aggressive. It's kind of spicy. That's what spicy means. You learn by nature. Just some ideas. So that's it for today. Next week is week 3. We'll be back here in this room. We'll do some more meditation. The 4th week, I'll remind you each week, we're not going to be in class. We're actually going to be doing a meditation hike. So we'll be at Temescal Canyon, which is the instructions on how to get there is in the syllabus, and we'll meet there. We're actually going to meet there at 9:45 instead of 10, just in that way, so that by 10 o'clock we really can be on the path and walking, because it's always, we get there at 10, and then someone's like, oh, I'm 15 minutes late, and it's like, oh, everyone's wanting to go. So we try to say 9:45 so we can get going by 10. But that's not next week. Next week we're back here, regular class. It's the week after that. I'll remind you again next week. I'll try to put these meditation classes on YouTube. We'll see how far we get with them, and try to download them, and you'll get a chance. I'll email you so you have the information, and I'll email you guys all again saying it's up. And have a wonderful week.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.